bringing you the latest news from Liberty Athletics. This is the Patriot Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. We are in the Patriot Fan Zone on the high school fan zone on a Monday night, just like Monterey and, well, actually, no, never mind. Undo that. You guys are not affected by realignment because you're staying 4A for at least 2 more years.
Yes, sir.
The only difference that will affect you a little bit is Plainview. You'll play Plainview in every sport but football, so you'll get Plainview jumps down into your district. And if I remember right, their soccer program is taking a step forward this year.
Absolutely, yes. They're competing well in that 5A.
You need to have. Let me introduce my guest here first. To my far left, and I think this is the first time he's been on with me. He said he's been on the show, but I don't think it was with me. Is third-year coach Jesse Sanchez. I'm going to have you introduce your 2 guys here for folks watching on TV, and then before you guys talk, I'll introduce you again so people know you by voice.
Yes, with me I brought Asen Huffman. He plays football, and he's one of our center mids wingers this year. He's moved out of winger. And I also brought Brandon Schlump. He's one of our center mids as well, and he plays football as well. So both of these boys play multi-sport athletes.
And they've been with you since day one soccer-wise?
Asen's been with us for 3 years. Brandon's only a sophomore, but he was our MVP last year, so he's been a big part of our...
That's why I thought you'd been around so long, because you jumped onto the scene. And,
yes, sir. As a freshman, he contributed right away.
Well, and because, let me put this as politely as I can, year one was rough.
100%. Yes, that's the beauty. We like Asen's been there from day one, and Brandon experienced a little bit last year, but from day one, it was very rough. Yeah. So,
and I was thinking about that when I sent you the text to invite you, and I was like, why have I never had them on before? Then I started thinking. So full disclosure, if a team's struggling, I don't necessarily like to have them. You don't have a whole lot to talk about, so I don't want to put you on the spot. We have a lot to talk about now because you guys are not struggling. But year one was struggling, and you know what? Your cohorts at Memorial have gone through a little bit of this. Mm-hmm. They've adjusted a little bit quicker. And I remember one of their coaches saying, this is kind of what Liberty experienced that first year. Soccer, for boys, a lot of boys in varsity sports, that first year was just freshmen, sophomores. That can be tough because physically, there's a lot of differences physically with boys at that age compared to girls playing at that age.
Yeah, and I think the big difference that, even I was probably wrong this year when I told the boys we opened with Memorial, second district game. Mm-hmm. They opened with like 1,200 kids. We opened with like 300-ish.
Right.
And most of these kids had never played soccer. So you're talking about 300 versus 1,200. Memorial hasn't had to go through as rough a patch as we did that first year with 300 kids starting varsity soccer and most kids not having much experience.
I remember sitting down and talking to Keelan Ellison, the girls' coach, who they have been successful pretty much from the beginning. And she said she did what she could to keep your spirits up.
That was my whole thing. It's just being positive and bringing these guys back. And I'm very blessed that I think I've had just about every single kid return now, like people with Asen's group for 3 years now. And in the senior class, most of those guys have all come back. So my whole thing was just keeping the kids to keep coming back. And that's why you see that success now. It's taken us 3 years, but all those kids that played year one have come back. I think we lost one kid maybe. But, that's it. Carter.
Oh, yeah.
He was a big track guy, and he went. Everybody else has come back, and that's been a big part of it. Just keeping them excited, keeping them happy, just trying to get these kids to come back, and they have.
All right, grab that microphone, Asen. I don't know if I told you guys before. Hold it above the silver and hold it up close and talk loud. He'll adjust you in there.
Okay, yes, sir.
So, Asen, you've been around since day one.
Yes, sir.
Were you football from day one as well?
Yes, sir, I was.
So you've kind of football struggled the first year too.
Yes, sir. First year varsity. Yes, sir.
And last year, first year varsity, yes. I forget that you guys sometimes that you didn't play that.
Yeah, yes, sir.
And this year, obviously, was a lot different. You've been through a couple of different growing pain type seasons.
Yep.
Does this one feel similar to what you guys did in the fall in football, where you start figuring things out and know what it takes to win?
Yes, sir. It definitely feels different. It's like I feel like it's the same concept with just like Coach Sanchez was saying, just starting young and then just like growing with each other, just like building that chemistry over the years, just keeping our heads up even when we were down, and just things like that, like just growing up with each other and just continuing to play with each other.
Now, were you a soccer player before you ever stepped on campus at Liberty?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So he hadn't played in many years. You stopped in middle school?
Yeah, I was playing. I was big on soccer like when I was little. It was one of my first sports. And then I kind of like didn't have the time for it when I started middle school, so I kind of stopped playing about 6th or 7th grade, I think, and then picked it back up freshman year.
So we talked about this before we came on. Dad is Antonio Huffman,
Yes,
who
sir.
played at Texas Tech and is part of the administration now. So you got some football in your DNA.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So it's understandable that you focused on that a little bit, and you're a good football player too.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Watched a lot of your football teams this year. So Randon, you show up as a freshman last year. You knew they'd struggled, right? That
Yes,
wasn't
sir.
that wasn't a mystery.
Yeah.
What did you come as a? How old were you last year? 14, 15?
15 or 14 turning 15.
So you're just a young pup.
Yeah.
You know you're a good soccer player because you have played soccer.
Yeah, I played with LBK Young, and then we moved to Epic because LBK like vanished, and then now I'm on the Lubbock Matadors.
Yeah, because I've had a few people tell me that it's not a surprise what he's done.
He had a great freshman year. I was kind of skeptical. I thought freshmen in this league playing grown man seniors was going to be tough. And, I mean, as a freshman, he jumped in there and was right away one of our best players and was a big reason we made that jump from one district win to fourth place playoffs.
Got into the playoffs, correct?
Yes, as a 4 seed we got in. Yes, we had a playing game against Estacado.
Yep.
And yeah, he was our leading scorer and, probably assists, everything.
That's why what I do with my website, when your name kept popping up, I asked people, this kid's been around. Sorry, yeah, you were a little bit of an urban legend. So
Yes, sir.
you're a pretty good player.
Thank you.
But as I was saying, you show up, you knew they'd struggled that first year. What did you show up last year wanting to do, and how much better are you guys now in year 2?
I mean, last year I just really wanted to like try and help the team grow, and I mean we did, but overall I was just trying to like help everybody out because not everybody had like the soccer IQ, I guess. So I was like helping people out and like drills and stuff, like kind of teaching them the craft because like they're so new to this stuff.
And soccer's very unique.
Yeah.
And that's something else that Keela and I talked about because she went through a little bit of what you did. A lot of her players had never played. Jesse, you have to teach the game. A lot of high school coaches get to that point. They don't have to teach anymore. They just coach. You had to teach a lot that first year. Are you still teaching as much, or have you been able to coach more?
I mean, that first year, maybe even last year, I was trying to focus on just touches, like how to pass a ball and receive a ball, and that's what we try to focus on during the period. And after school, more small-sided games, kind of get them playing a little bit. But yeah, that first year, it's first year and second year was tough. This year, it's a little bit more. I still believe a lot in the fundamentals, but definitely just the quality has gotten better, with the kids.
And I don't want coaching is teaching, but there's a difference sometimes when you have to go through and start from point A and kind of go that way. So we'll come back. We got 2 more segments talking Liberty Patriot Soccer. We'll be back after this break on 100.7 The Score.
Diving headfirst into Liberty Athletics. You're listening to the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back in. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is the High School Fan Zone on a Monday night. I think I may have said it was Wednesday earlier, but I do want to mention, I'll say it again, Wednesday night we are doing a realignment special, which means for the whole hour and a half, Mike Meeks, Max Catwickle, and Brian Gerlich will be here to talk about realignment that hit today. And there was no real shocks to anybody in terms of Memorial moved up to 5A, Liberty stayed 4A. Plainview was the one thing that affected Liberty. They are going to be 4A, not in football with the Patriots, but in every other sport, I believe they will be a district match. The big, the jolting thing was that in 5A, and you guys don't have to worry about that at least for 2 more years, the 5A district here is 10 teams, which is a lot of district games. That's 18 district games, which I think the coaches that were in earlier said the math is they will start district play before Thanksgiving in basketball and soccer.
That's what we have this year, actually. With Memorial, we have 10 teams, and it's 18 straight, and people don't realize how physical game soccer is. So we have a Tuesday, Friday game straight for, 9-10 weeks?
Except for last week, which...
We had 2 back-to-back on Thursday, Friday, so we had a tough one, too. But, yeah, we're in a 10-team district this year, and it's a lot. It's physically demanding.
So for what I do as a sports writer, I don't like bye weeks that much. I can find something to do because somebody's always playing, but I'm going to guess that coaches don't mind having a bye week thrown in there or a bye.
We had a bye last year, and it's nice. It's good for the kids to get away too. You know what I mean? And family and whatnot. So
sometimes it's okay to be kids. The reason I invited these guys in today, and like I said, I don't think it's mean or a secret. If teams struggling, I don't necessarily want to have them come in and have to talk about that. You guys are not struggling. You guys are 3 in a row.
More. What do you think, boys? 4?
4?
4. You could call it 5. We had a tie,
5.
and we do PKs now, and we won the PKs.
Yes.
So I would say 4. The boys are saying 5. So, I mean.
It goes now. I think
it goes down as an extra
tie,
point,
but you get the extra point.
Mm-hmm.
But you've won a bunt, or you haven't lost in a while. Let's put it that way.
We lost our first district game against Lakeview, which they're usually the standard up there, and then we've gone in a row ever since.
Which is different. We're talking about your first season. How different does it feel? I'm going to get these guys to talk about it. How different does it feel now, Ace? Now, we were just joking. Coach was talking about your first ever scrimmage. We're not going to say the score on air.
No.
Yeah.
But you were joking. You said I wasn't there. So you don't have to. You can say you were there now.
Yeah.
You can say you've been there for the last 5 for sure.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So, I mean, believe it or not, it doesn't really feel all that different to me or the rest of the guys, like I mean, the last few years, even when we weren't winning, we were still putting in the work in practice, getting better. Just working on the fundamentals, like Coach said, building chemistry with each other, and that's the same thing we're doing this year. So it's really all the same for us. We're just, I don't know, just our success is showing now.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, he says it's not different, but winning. What's the coach's cliche, Jesse? Winning cures a lot of problems.
As I was going to say, winning, yeah, fixes everything, right? Yeah, cures everything, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, winning, it definitely makes you want to, show up to practice and, put in the work. And, you're knowing how, you're one step closer. We're number 2 in the district right now. And that's just, that'll be number 1 in small school whenever it does come times for playoffs, which means we can, win a gold ball and go to the next round, which would be awesome.
Which, Asen got a taste of that in football season. You guys won a couple of those. You mentioned the standings, and your district is very competitive. Just looking at it right here in front of me, make sure I've got this as the boys. Yes. Lakeview, as you said, Jesse, they're 6-0. You guys in Big Spring are 4-1-1, so neck and neck. Pecos, which I know went through a little bit of a rough patch as well, but they've found some players apparently because they're right there. You've been kind of staring up the last couple of years for a coach. He mentioned that they like to come to practice a little bit more. How much does that change things for you, knowing, okay, my guys are locked in now?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It's hard, when you're struggling, and keep them motivated, keep them working, the attitude and all that. And I think it's easier to be harder on them now, too, because we're winning. So, you can always be a lot harder on them when you're winning. It's hard to do that when you're losing because the kids are like, well, why are you so hard on us? We're losing. What do we have to look forward to? So it's been a lot easier this year, I guess you say. Get excited to come to practice like the boys were saying, and to be there because I know that they're excited to be there.
It's probably more exciting to go to practice than to get on a bus and go to Pecos, which is
it's coming up next week too. Oh, that's
like driving brutal. To Mars. That's not.
Yes.
You guys, do either one of you guys start at Lubbock Cooper, or did you start as freshmen? I know you did. Were you a freshman at Lubbock Cooper, or were you a freshman at Liberty?
I was a freshman at Liberty.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So do you know Coach Darden at all, Chip Darden?
I do, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, he was my middle school coach.
I asked him for years and years to never play a playoff game in Fort Stockton again. And then I went to Pecos, and I was like, okay,
that's
Fort
true.
Stockton's okay.
It's better.
It's even further. So these guys are headed to the playoffs. I'll say that. I'll go out on the limb. I'm putting the pressure on them. But they're 4-1-1 in district right now. But as Jesse said, there's a long season to go because soccer may be the longest. You guys may start the earliest and go the longest than any sport in Hugh-High-L because it's a long season. You still have a ways to go here, but they're in good shape, 4-1-1. We're going to take another break, come back and talk about what's ahead this week and just what the future is like for the Patriots in the high school fan zone on 100.7 The Score.
Your inside look into Liberty sports. This is the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back in. We are in the last segment of the Patriot Fan Zone on a Monday night. We're talking Liberty Patriot soccer. I'm trying to call your schedule up here. I've got the standings I just mentioned. All right, I know Tuesday night you guys are against Sweetwater.
Yes, sir.
Sweetwater's not quite figured out the soccer thing. They've been around for a while, and it hasn't worked too well. But Jesse, you told me later this week you have one that'll test you.
Yeah, so Friday we go to Pecos. And the challenge there is not just, Pecos is usually pretty competitive up there in the standings, but the drive too. With these guys, it's a long drive, and it's, to get ready for that game. Yep. So I told my assistant, I said, we're going to go super early, make sure we're there at least an hour and a half before, and just start walking around or something, get these guys to be ready.
Because they're young and they don't think about that. So when you start getting older and your limbs get all creaky and you've been on the bus for a while. So, Randon, you got called up for the football playoffs.
Yes, sir.
So you got a little taste of road trips and going places and doing all that. But what Coach just said there, how do you get used to it? When you're playing club soccer, you drive somewhere, you play 19 games in 3 days or whatever it is. So you get used to that part of it. But these games where you go to school all day, you have to be a student first.
Yes, sir.
You have to be a kid first, and then you have to get on a bus, go play, you have to be competitive, and then come back. How do you kind of mentally get ready for that?
I mean, really just like hydration and like stretching and stuff. Like on the bus, I'll try and like touch my toes every now and then, just like try and kind of keep the muscles loose. But honestly, it's just kind of just show up and play.
So, Asen, you've been around Coach a little bit longer than Randon. Those road trips 2 years ago were probably a little tougher.
I mean, yeah, it's really just a mentality thing, just, I don't know, us not having as much as like confidence in ourselves as we do this year. But I mean, it's really like, it's really a mentality thing for me. Like it's always been. So, I mean, to me, you just gotta, believe in yourself, have confidence in your team, trust in each other, and just go out there and play,
When did that confidence kick in last year? Because you guys were much better last year. You see this guy show up and you know that you've got a legit guy to join the fray. But when did that confidence when did you realize we're a little bit better now?
Yeah, so for me, I mean, it was kind of hard for me last year because I was playing basketball at the same time. So I was switching between sports a lot last year, but especially this year. I mean, after playing who was our second game? Actually, no. After playing Lakeview, after playing Lakeview, like we played amazing during like against Lakeview. To be honest, and we had, an unfortunate own goal. So we could have said it could have been 2-0, could have been 1-0. I mean, we could have scored, but like after that game, it really just showed me like how much our team grew. How much better we were moving the ball, how much better we were just confident in each other and just trusting each other.
All right, same question for you, Jesse. You endured the first year. When did it kind of hit you that these guys are a lot better than? So like
Asen nailed it. Like that San Angelo game, that's always a tough one. You're always thinking, past years, like you lose 4 or 5-0, whatever. You want to go out there and just compete. And we honestly gave them 2, you could probably say all 3 goals. And so I was mad at them. I got on them. I chewed them out pretty good at halftime, and they responded to a 0-0 second half. And we took that confidence into the next game, I think Memorial, and we won that. And, no offense to Memorial, but they're a new school, so we were expected to win that. And then we beat Snyder 3-1, played really well. And we thought, okay, we're not so bad. But I would say for sure Midland and Andrews, the next 2 wins, we hadn't beat them since for the 3 years we've been open. Beating Midland, Greenwood, and Andrews on the road was honestly what I think got these guys pretty fired up.
And you mentioned Memorial. You guys are a blueprint for Memorial in every sport, I think.
A little bit, yeah, 100%.
What you guys had to endure in some things, and Caitlin Anderson just made it hard on everybody by just winning everything from day one. Asen, football-wise, last year I would imagine you went into the soccer basketball and soccer if you were juggling at that point, pretty motivated because football, you lost a lot of close games, lost in overtime. I think you lost to Levelland to miss the playoffs. To go a little bit different this year going into your second sport, coming off of what you guys did. Great season, but also probably some different motivation because things ended so abruptly.
Yeah.
As a leader, how do you kind of use that fuel to help your teammates understand that feeling is not much fun to get to the playoffs and not keep going?
Yeah. That feeling is just, honestly, it's just like terrible. Just, going out there, putting it all on the field, and just not coming up with what you want, how it was in football against Graham. But personally, I still had a lot of fun playing Graham. It was a new team that we played. We hadn't played like a different team in like 2 years. And so, to me, you just got to see like the good in all things that you do, So just coming into this new season, I feel like there's a lot of bad cops on our team, you could say, like good cop, bad cop. I try to be more of the uplifting type of leader, during practice, just telling them what they need to hear, but in a more motivating way,
So, Brandon, are you a good cop?
I would say I am.
I would say Randy's a good cop, yeah.
Real quick, we're about to wrap up here. Brandon, for you, you're not even halfway through this high school career thing. How much fun are you having knowing that you guys are getting better and better?
I'm having a blast because we're a pretty young team, so we know that we can build on things next year and the year after. But it feels awesome just being able to win and like doing it with like my really good friends.
Much different situation with the Liberty Patriot soccer program now in year 3. That's going to wrap us up tonight. We'll be back Wednesday with the realignment special on the High School Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta. This 100.7 The Score.